When you move from what is called low vibration energy into high vibrational energy, you let go of the feelings of being stuck, being frustrated, feeling not good enough, not worthy, and those emotions are literally blocking you from experiencing what you want. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you the 9 common signs that you're embodying low vibration energy, and I'm going to show you how you can make the switch into higher vibration so that you are more attractive and you stop blocking good things, good opportunities, and good people from coming into your life. The first sign that you may have low vibration is that you may feel like you have a lack of energy. Now, the thing is think about it in terms of magnetic energy, attraction in general. Who are you more attracted to, or what kind of even talks or people do you listen to? If you think of someone like Kevin Hart, for example, he's very expressive with how he talks. He expresses a lot of emotion, a lot of, he's like funny. Like there's an element there that is very attractive, that gets you to want to watch him. But if you look at someone who's more monotone, maybe you think of like, what was that, Boy Meets World, or I forget, there's like shows where like there's a really boring professor that talks in monotone like this. There's a very lack of energy there. And I guarantee you that there's not a lot of people like, wow, that person's so attractive. I want to talk to them. When you are passionate about what you are doing and there's energy there, you'll find that your energy is not only more magnetic, but you attract opportunities, you attract things in. I remember when I was working women's shoes, before I was full-time on YouTube, I worked in women's shoes at Barney's, New York. The days I was the most passionate, and I wasn't even really that passionate about women's shoes, but the days I was having and I was embodying more passion and I was more excited, I was having more fun, were the days I did better. There were the days that like it was a commission-based job, but I would see a direct correlation between how much passion and fun I was having to how much money and abundance I was bringing in. So when it comes to being attractive, realize the more passion you are embodying, the more your energy is emitting off of you, and the more people can feel that. Now think of this too, even energetic wise. When you are in your passion, when you're doing what you love, or you're just enjoying the moment, your heart, the electromagnetic energy of your heart is emitting out thousands of times further than that of the head. So one of the things that happens is when you're in your passion, when you're doing something, you're following your heart, or you're having fun, you're in your heart, literally they've showed that the electromagnetic energy of your body goes out thousands of times more powerful. Like if you looked at it from a machine that was measuring your aura and stuff like that, it would go out with your head, it would go out to like here, and with your heart, it would literally go out like a whole neighborhood. And you'll notice a direct correlation of that. When I was working that 9-to-5 job and I felt stuck, I remember I felt like I was trapped. I had to work it. I had no choice. Also, not only that, I was living at my dad's house at the time, which is even more embarrassing. And there was a feeling of powerlessness that was in there. But I think a lot of that too is there was just no passion for what I was doing because I felt trapped. So part of this too is I had to become aware of the stories I was telling myself. The story that I have to work this 9-to-5 job I'm not passionate about. The stories that I have to live at my dad's house, or even that the story is that I do that means I'm a loser. I had to look at all of those things, which the funny thing is there are people that may be attractive, that do live at their mom or dad's house, that live in a job, maybe work a job they're not even that passionate about, but because they own it and they're not ashamed of it, it makes them more attractive. That's the interesting thing. You might have like a guy that's like doing nothing with his life, but he's playing video games and stuff, but he owns that. And because he owns it and he's not like feeling that shameful for it, that almost makes him more attractive. So on one hand, the more passion you have, the more attractive you are. And on the other side of that, the more you can just own your situation, the more attractive you'll be immediately anyways. However, I will say that when it comes to attraction, I would always attract people, like girlfriends, that were a direct reflection of where I was at in my life. So if I was working a 9-to-5 job I didn't like and I hated, then I would also attract women that were working 9-to-5 jobs that they hated. And that's where we would relate. But then when I started doing what I love, I would only attract people that were in that similar vibration of doing what they love. So Think about that too. When we're talking about low vibration and attractive, low vibration energy does attract other low vibrational things and people. So it's like, what is attractive to a high vibrational, someone that's in high vibration, that's being consciously aware and that's more awake to their true essence of who they came here to be, is going to be different than the person who is maybe toxic, emotionally reactive, and in that low vibrational state. So low vibration attracts low vibration, and if you're in low vibration, you may attract more of that, and high vibration attracts high vibration. So the key to this is more so realizing that like attracts like. So the key to not being stuck and the signs of low vibration is that what you can do is become aware of these things so that you can begin to embody higher vibrational energy, because then you're going to be more attractive to other people that are in high vibration and other opportunities that resonate with your vibration. Because we always get a direct reflection of who we believe we are. So the key to this is really the awareness more than anything else. So the first sign is not being passionate, not having energy. When you start making choices to be passionate, when you start letting go of the old stories that are limiting you and you start owning your current situation, you're naturally going to be more attractive. Now, the second thing, and the second sign that you have low vibration, and this is something I went through for a while, and that makes you less attractive, is judging other people and having judgment that is literally, the judgment is there to keep you safe from intimacy in a way. I know for me, when I was first going and I first started dating before I met my girlfriend, I remember that like I didn't realize how judgmental I was of other people I'd go on dates with. Even before I went on that, I would have all these judgments like, I would like, it was something I was judging them and thinking, I wasn't completely aware of the judgment. It was more so like, oh, what's the point? It was almost like there was this really high checklist. They had to check all these different marks. And if for any reason I found one little thing that I would judge, I would then be like, I don't want to waste my time, or I would kind of like bypass it. But I realized that was also a level of myself of feeling that, of a way of keeping me from intimacy, keeping me from like branching out of my comfort zone from being single. And I know it sounds crazy, but when I stopped judging other people and I opened up my heart, it was like opportunities started coming in. My heart started opening, and that's when I met Heather. So it's incredible how it works when you stop judging and you start opening up your heart. So much more is potential like there for you. Now, another thing I'll share is when I went through my awakening in 2012, this is like kind of funny, but also something that I think maybe you can relate to. In 2012, I went through my spiritual awakening. My whole entire life opened up. I started meditating. I started within weeks, like I was taking Adderall for having ADHD, stopped taking Adderall, started feeling completely different. I would meditate for 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at night. I stopped smoking cannabis. I was smoking a lot of cannabis, quit. I just started feeling good a majority of the time doing nothing. And I would do mantras. I was learning about like spiritual awakening. I just became aware of this whole aspect of my life that was so closed out for so long, and it was so exciting. I even remember to this day, like if I hear certain songs by Enigma, kind of embarrassing to share this, but like there's these Enigma and Enya songs that if I listen to this day, it brings me back to that emotion or that time of my life and that nostalgia. But there was something interesting that happened when I went through that awakening. One of it was I experienced a lot of pain and a lot of rejection from friends and family. My dad didn't understand it. I had friends and family, or I had friends that I used to like smoke with and chill with like all the time, and they literally thought I went crazy. They thought that there was like something happened to me. They thought I did some type of psychedelic or something and then like fried myself. That's what they thought. And so my dad thought that too. My dad actually called some of my friends, was like, what the hell did Aaron do? Because I came out of my spiritual awakening and I felt so alive. I immediately like went vegan at that point, and I lost a whole bunch of weight, and then I started looking unhealthy, and my dad, people thought I was on drugs when I wasn't. And it was this time when I went within and I was like reading books and meditating, and nobody else understood what I was going through. But then what happened is, because I felt rejected from my dad, my friends, and other people, I developed this belief in this story that just people don't get me. And I remember that if I would go out at like even Whole Foods or go out in public, I would feel like I couldn't really connect with other people because I was judging them and like judging people as being like in low vibration. You know, that's a spiritual ego thing that does happen with this whole low vibrational, high vibrational thing, because then it's like, you're not as aware of I am. I'm way more aware than you are. And it becomes this like spiritual ego hierarchy thing. But I remember thinking like, oh, I became bitter because I was like, people don't get me. So all these people walking around right now, they're just asleep and they don't know that they're immortal spiritual beings of temporary human experiences. And because I had these perspectives, it was a way of me rationalizing people rejecting me or feeling rejected, like people didn't understand me. What ended up happening was I ended up developing this belief that people don't get me. People don't understand me. And with that, I ended up feeling very alone. You know, like imagine your dad doesn't understand you. You're trying to prove yourself to your dad, trying to show your dad like these things that you're passionate about, and he just doesn't get it. Imagine your friends not talking to you anymore, or just like not wanting to even hang out, or you not hanging out with them, and then they feel rejected, but just feeling like there's this dissonance from something that always used to make you feel so safe and comfortable. And you just feel alone, you know? That's how I felt. And what I had to learn is I had to learn to drop the judgments of believing that there's something wrong with me, believing that like people just don't get me, and also of judging them. And when I stopped judging them and I stopped separating people in my mind from being higher vibrational, low vibrational, I was able to connect with people at a much deeper level. Because soon after my spiritual awakening, I went through a phase to where I quit my job, and then I lived and did like nothing for a while, and then eventually I was like, I have to get a job. So then I went from Nordstrom's, where I quit, to Barney's, New York. Those are really the only two jobs I really ever had besides like Hollister when I was 18. But when I went back into my 9 to 5 job, I had to like stop judging people. When I stopped judging people, it was so much easier for me to connect with other people. So not only does this work in general when it comes to like spiritual awakening, but this also works with dating when it comes to like, what is your checklist? You know, do you have this huge checklist of like, he needs to be this tall, or she needs to look like this, or have this hair color, have this kind of personality trait, everything, and blah, 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 blah. It's this big, long list. And maybe that big, long list is keeping you from really connecting with people. It's a safety mechanism from intimacy. And that's what I had to become aware of. And then as I started dropping that judgment, I started opening up my heart. It was like, not only, because people feel what you feel. So if you're judging them, they're feeling that, and then they just naturally feel like judging you. When I stopped judging, that was when like opportunities came in. Now, the third one is more of a body thing I want to share. The third sign that you have low vibration is by looking at your diet, looking at what you're eating. This is in general because like you'll notice that if you're eating crappy foods, eating deep fried foods, eating heavy foods that are weighing you down, lots of sugar that's like spiking your blood sugar, then you feel low. That is probably attractive to people that are also in a similar vibe. So, you know, like maybe someone eating Burger King or something. If that's like, you're going to attract people that have similar values as you. So high vibrational values normally involve people that are aware of what they put in their body and how that makes them feel. So they're putting more nutrient-rich foods into their body. They're putting foods that sustain them, less processed, maybe more paleo diet. But you'll find that you attract more of what you're embodying. So if you're eating a diet that's very high in sugar, if you're eating a diet that's like very unhealthy, you're probably not going to be attractive to people that are very that value their health, that value the things that they're putting in their body. You know, like an easy thing to do, by the way, if you're feeling blocked or stuck, or like you don't know where to go to find people that have similar values as you. So for example, if you like yoga and you go to yoga classes, you're more likely to meet people that are also into yoga, obviously, right? If you're like into arts and crafts and stuff, like you're going to meet people with similar values based on where you're going. So that's one thing. But the other thing of this is like, if you're shopping at Whole Foods, you're going to meet and attract different people than if you go to like Food for Less, you know? Or if you go to like some place that's just processed food, or like a fast food restaurant. So I know this stuff seems kind of self-evident, but realize that if you look at your diet and you see that you're eating very mindlessly and you're eating a lot of food that's weighing down your energy, that will affect your level of attraction. When I used to eat a lot of McDonald's. I mean, this is actually years ago, but even before that, even after I went through my awakening, I could tell that there was a direct energy between me eating like very unhealthy food, sugary food, because then my energy crashes and then I don't have high vibration, which leads you back to the first one is you don't have energy. So one of the things you can begin to do is realize, what am I putting into my body and how is that making me feel? And if I want to attract somebody that's high vibration, I must first be high vibration, which means being aware of what you're putting in your body, having that awareness. Sugars, they say that like you talk about like alcohol and like drugs and stuff like that. One of the biggest drugs on the planet, even more than caffeine, is sugar. So many people are addicted to sugar. And doesn't mean you have to be like keto or anything, but I'm not saying that necessarily. I'm just saying like artificial sugar will definitely put you into more of a derp state. I was more in a derp state when I was eating a lot of sugar. I find myself, and I'm eating a lot of sugar. I'm also watching a lot of television. And how you do one thing's how you do everything. So it's like by you becoming more aware of what you're putting in your body, you might also become aware of like what you're watching. Are you watching Jerry Springer? Or are you watching like things that actually, and it's not bad to do every now and then. I'm the first to admit that I'm not perfect with this. I've watched Breaking Bad. I've watched like Narcos. I've watched Vikings. I've watched a whole bunch of shows, Game of Thrones. And some of them aren't the highest vibrational shows, but I enjoy watching them. But the key is you're aware that you're doing it, You're aware, and that makes it a little bit less negative to the vibration. But remember, you always attract that which energy you're putting out. So the third one about the energy you're putting out, the healthy habits, is huge. Now, the fourth one has to do, and the fourth sign you have low vibration that is making it so that you're not as attractive, or at least you're attracting the people you don't necessarily want, is you're afraid to speak your truth. You're holding parts of yourself back. I believe that, in a way, there's a spiritual awakening happening on the planet. More people than ever before are waking up to who they are. Do you feel that? Can you feel that there's something happening? I feel like all the crazy stuff happening in the planet with this last couple of years, it's a sign that there's pressure that's being created so that people wake up. Most people that go through a spiritual awakening went through a lot of pressure earlier on in life. And one of the things that's happening collectively now is there's pressure that's being created. There's all this crazy stuff happening. This pressure, though, is allowing for people to wake up. They're waking up to the media and all the other things going on in the world that just maybe doesn't resonate as much as usual. But now more than ever, I believe it's a time of speaking your truth of what you really believe and who you really are. And I believe that many people that watch my videos or that are into this kind of information, you came here to be at the leading edge of consciousness of waking up. This might sound kind of esoteric, and I know it does, but there's like these books by this lady named Dolores Cannon, who passed away a couple years ago. But she has these books that are transcripts of this hypnosis process that she developed called QHHT, which stands for Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. And basically, from thousands of people all over the world that would go into these deep level hypnosis, their higher selves and their subconscious mind would come through to reveal certain things. And through thousands of people all over the world, there was a very consistent message where people, when they were in this state, would say, I came here to be a part of the shift in consciousness. We came here to wake up. We heard the call. In the 1920s, or like back in the day when the US and the world was experimenting with the nuclear bombs and stuff like that, there was a call that was energetically put out where it's like the earth is destroying itself. And souls from all over the galaxy, because we are eternal spiritual beings having temporary human experiences, heard that call and decided to come back to earth. Now, the thing with earth, and these are all talked about in the books, and this is also what a lot of ancient techniques talks about, ancient like philosophy that's been around for thousands of years, that we are eternal spiritual beings having temporary human experiences. But one of the things about earth is that you forget who you are so that you can then remember who you are. And when you start remembering and you start coming to this awareness that you are more than just this 3D physical avatar body, you start waking up. And when you start becoming the bold version of you came here to be, you will embody a different energy and you will be more attractive. Like even the fact that I just shared that esoteric concept on this video, that sometimes the things you're afraid to share that you share may be the thing that has the most power or impact. This last thing I just shared that was a little bit more esoteric, Even if you didn't agree with it, you probably respect that maybe I just did it, that I just said something like that. That was esoteric. Maybe you even resonate with it. And because I expressed that, there's a part of you that maybe resonates with it even more because it was something that was kind of vulnerable or esoteric to share. That's a sign, by the way, of how this energy works. Because when you are being the most bold version of you and not attached to the outcome, you will be more attractive. Now, part of you being bold, though, I believe, is you giving yourself permission to express these parts of yourself, even if they're a little bit more esoteric. Don't be afraid. You came here to be bold. You didn't come here to just be a part of the old system, to do what you're told, to be in the background. And that's why I think it's really key that you express yourself. Also, you came here to be the star of your own movie. You didn't come here to be the cameo. And I think a lot of times when we went through a lot of stuff growing up, or even like, maybe there's someone you're attracted to and you're feeling like putting them on a pedestal or whatever it is, you might be trying to be the cameo in their movie. You're the cameo in your boss's movie. The cameo in a company you're working for. There's nothing wrong with working for a company or any of that stuff. But the idea is to be the star of your own movie. Take responsibility. Have a direction in a direction that you're going in because you're choosing it, not because you're at the whims of everybody else. When you shift into your star role, everything changes. In 2017, I made the choice to make daily videos on YouTube because I took control of my life and stopped telling myself the story that this 9-to-5 job is all I'm capable of. 6 months later, my life transformed. Put in my 2 weeks, probably the best feeling I ever had. It was when I went into my 9-to-5 job and I felt so trapped for so long. And I felt like, I had to deal with corporate politics and management that was like telling me what days I could have off, couldn't have off. I had to suck up to get the days I wanted off. I got in trouble. Like, it was just corporate. There was corporate politics and like there was narcissism at the higher levels when it comes to like the managers and stuff like that. And it was just so frustrating. I felt so stuck, felt so powerless. I needed the money to it was just this crazy cycle. But then 2 weeks, I go in and put it in my 2 weeks. And I go in and I remember looking at this photo. There was a photo of everyone that worked at Barty's like on this wall. And I remember looking at this photo and I had this big beard and I was wearing my suit. I remember looking at myself and just like feeling so much gratitude as I went into the HR office and told Anna, that was her name. I said, Anna, I'm here to put in my 2 weeks. I felt so, she was actually excited for me. She wasn't one of the ones, like there was some narcissism with the other managers, but she was like, that's awesome. What are you doing? And then I told her about my YouTube channel and how it was growing. And I felt like it was time. And I'm really passionate about this thing. And I then went to the store manager, the regional manager, and told him. And he I could tell really didn't give a shit. He was like, oh, whatever, but it just felt so good because I was buying back my freedom. It felt so good to do that. And it's something I think every single person came here to do. Now, also, if you haven't heard, but I have a challenge coming up. This is a challenge for going full-time, doing what you love. I'm doing it with my buddy Victor Otto. It's a 3-day life challenge that starts soon. I believe it starts on February 18th, 19th, and 20th. If you want to join, click the link in the description box below or go to fulltimepurpose.com. I believe it's there. Or no, I think you have to click the link below and join that challenge that we're going to be doing. We're going to be showing you how to do exactly what we do. But anyways, that was such a good feeling. But that when I started being that bold version of me, it started attracting my tribe. It started attracting people to my YouTube channel. And even as the more I share videos that I'm like afraid to share, the more esoteric even, those videos always do the best because it's me being bold. It's me being who I came here to be, So that's something else that I encourage you to look at. Now, the next thing is a sign that you have low vibration is being in toxic relationships. Toxic relationships. Now, if you find yourself either trauma bonded or maybe I realized at a certain point in my life that I kept attracting people in my life that were like my ex-stepmom. Ex-stepmom was in my life from 7 to 15. And after she left, I always had someone in my life that was trying to control me. And the crazy thing about this is I felt safe having someone in my life that was trying to control me. Even it's hard to admit that, but it's like that was the truth. Like somebody controlling me, gaslighting me felt very normal and safe. So I always attracted it. Had a girlfriend in my life that was very jealous, very controlling. I broke up with her within 2 weeks. I got transferred to a better shoe department where the manager was just like my ex-stepmom. And then she was in my life. And even after that, even after I became aware of some of the things I tell you, what I had to do is I had to forgive my ex-stepmom. And I had to let go of that story that like people are always trying to control me. I have to fight for my freedom. I have to fight for my right to like be sovereign. Even after I let go of that, I still had some other even high vibe friends that have some narcissistic traits and tendencies. And what I had to do is I had to become aware of these things and ask myself, why do I keep attracting these in? Why do I let some people take advantage of me? And I realized that it was just something I felt safe with. But once I became aware of it, it changed everything. And the thing you could do now is become aware, are there toxic relationships in your life that maybe feel familiar? And a lot of times they'll remind us of childhood dynamics. If you had a dad that was very hard on you, you might find yourself with a partner that's very hard on you, or a boss that's very hard on you. If you find someone that like emotionally is manipulating you, maybe as a kid you had someone that was emotionally manipulating you. And what you want to do is you want to become aware of this stuff. That's it. You become aware of it, and then you start asking yourself, do I continue to choose this? Or do I stand up for myself and say what I'm really thinking in the moments? Because sometimes people come into our lives to help us learn different things. My dad is like the nicest guy in the world. He attracted my ex-stepmom, who is a hard-blown narcissist. And it's very easy to me that I can see that there's actually a benefit in that relationship. The benefit is that the hardcore narcissist of my ex-stepmom is teaching my dad how to have boundaries, how to stand up for himself. And on the other side of that, maybe my dad is teaching her how to have empathy. Honestly, I don't know if she's... It could be a hard lesson to learn sometimes, but at the end of her life, at least, I think when we have life reviews and stuff, I think we become aware of like how we made people feel, you know? I'd say interesting with narcissists sometimes. It's like, people are like, oh, they'll get what they have coming. And sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't for a long time, though. And it's like confusing because it's like, what about karma, you know? But it's like, regardless, we're all reflections of each other. But if we're allowing a narcissist into our life, it's because maybe we feel familiar or comfortable with it. But you become aware of it, and that changes everything. Now, the next thing is boundaries. The next sign you have that you're in low vibration is you have very hard trouble setting boundaries. The more you realize your own sense of self-worth, the more boundaries you'll be able to easily set. I had trouble setting boundaries for a very long time. I felt frustrated, felt stuck, felt like if somebody invited me to something I didn't want to do, that I had no choice but to go. And I would completely abandon myself in order to make others happy. Someone's having a friend. If a friend of mine is having a party in a different state and I have to rearrange everything on my schedule to go to it, there's no question that that's what I had to do. And I had to cancel photo shoots. I had to do all this stuff for stuff like that. And I felt like a leaf in the wind. And it wasn't until I woke up, once again, I became aware that there is an option to where I choose what I need to do, and I stay in integrity with my own life and my own commitment, my own business, or whatever I'm doing, and not go, and still I'm a good person. That's what I had to realize. But the interesting thing is the more successful I become, the more boundaries I've had to place, because the more self-worth I realize. When I look at my old job, and I started going full-time at my 9-to-5 job, and I started like going making YouTube videos, I'd have friends that say, hey, you want to hang out? Come hang out, come smoke, come do this. And I literally would have to say no. I'd have to set boundaries because I had a vision that was more important to me. And once I started doing that, my life really began to change because I was setting boundaries. And when you set boundaries and you say no to something, you're saying yes to something else. If you say no to a narcissist who's emotionally manipulating you, you can then make room and say yes for somebody that actually can be emotionally available with you. When you say no to someone that's putting you down and telling you can't do what you love for a living or whatever it is, why bother, what's with that hobby that you're doing? I felt like for a long time, I'd go to a friend's house and see people and be, what are you up to? Oh, I'm making YouTube videos. Oh, I could just see it in people's faces that, not all of them, some of them were very supportive, but I could just see that and then I started growing, and then people started buying into it. But it was interesting because I had to really believe in myself, and just believe in yourself, and it's okay to set boundaries, If you're growing a vision, just in general, it's okay to set boundaries, period. You're not obligated to other people's happiness. You're not obligated to fix other people. You're not obligated to other events and things that make you abandon yourself. Having trouble setting boundaries a lot of times, it means that we have trouble like not abandoning, like we're used to abandoning ourselves for others. Stop abandoning yourself and start doing what you want to do. And as you're in your own frame, that is attractive. The more you're able to set boundaries shows value. I remember when I set boundaries with some friends that I had problem setting boundaries with, that I really looked up to, they then respected me more. Interesting how that works. But people will respect you when you set boundaries. And you'll find that your life takes on a whole new meaning and a whole new level when you do that. Now, another like energy dynamic that really is a sign of being in low vibration is similar to the one I was talking about when it was like trouble speaking your truth. It's being in victim mode where like everything's happening to me. Like, why would you do this? You know, like when we're in that mode, we'll attract other people that can victimize us. So the key to this is like taking our power back and realizing that we're not victims. We have power. We have our power. I felt a victim of my ex-stepmom for so long, even after she left my life, that I kept attracting people that would have that role, try to control me and stuff, where I had to fight for my freedom because I was so used to that. But in the same way, being in the victim energy just isn't, it is attractive to narcissists. I will say that. It's attractive to certain types of people, but normally it's low vibrational people that's attractive to. What is attractive is somebody that's leading in their life, that's going after what they love, that's making and choosing the meaning they give things. When you do that, that is attractive. And when you're not the victim, it will change everything. It's even hard to say because I know some of you have been through really hard shit. More challenging things than I've been through for sure. But realize that you as a soul, you're an eternal spiritual being living a temporary human experience. This is a 3D physical avatar body. You offloaded and front-loaded some of the trauma and the pressure in your life to help you go through a spiritual awakening. It served a purpose. But that purpose is for you to wake up, and then now it's the purpose for you to really just go after and be who you came here to be. And that's why finding your purpose and living your meaning and living that aligned life, I think is more powerful than anything. When you do that, you will be more attractive. You will attract more people into your life. And it is just something that changes everything. So one of the things you can do, if that's something you want to learn more about, is everything I'm talking about right now, it has to do with what's called the law of vibration. When you learn the law of vibration, it changes everything. Like attracts like. When you tune to the reality of what you want to experience and you choose to embody it here and now, that's what really the law of attraction starts working for you. So if you haven't seen that video yet, it's one of the most powerful videos I've ever made. It's the law of vibration explained. You can check that out here and let me know what you think. There is a law that is more powerful than the law of attraction. If you're finding that maybe there's blocks coming up when it comes to attracting the reality you want, maybe you watched the movie The Secret, maybe you've been